Okay, welcome to the first episode of the Telemarketing Chronicles. I'm Charles. The handsome bald gentleman to the left is Eddie. The also handsome guy at the bottom there is Shane Borman. Check out the shirt, premium. And we have this is the Charles and Eddie podcast where we talk about anything, sports, politics, movies, whatever. Crossover with my podcast, Memoirs of a Life Well Wasted. And the reason that we're here today is sort of like a pilot episode because we all know, well, me and Shaggy have known each other since sixth grade, but we've known Eddie for over 20 years through work. So we're here to tell fifth grade. So we're here to tell stories of the shenanigans of working at a telemarketing place.
And that's the thing when you say you've known Shaggy your whole life, and then right away in my head I'm thinking if I was watching this I'd be like, well, is Eddie new? But in fact, like, it's been 27 years. It's not like it's been, we've been talking for, I've known Shaggy at least 26 years at least.
Oh yeah, we're super old now. We're super old now. So all of these relationships are going on 30 years. Some of them are 30 years plus. But Eddie's been with us since at least 25, 26 years. Yes.
Yeah, I met Eddie whenever I was 20, and I'm 48 now. So I've known him for 28 years.
Jesus. I was going to say I'm 51, and I think I was 22 or 23 or something like that.
Eddie, I just want to bring up recently in this last year is the first time in the 30 years I've known you that I ever actually knew how old you were.
Well, there's some things you got to keep a mystery for. I mean, I'll tell you, like, when I was doing podcasts with other people, you got to think, and not that you guys would be this way, but when you're looking at people that want to slide under and fuck you over or do something ignorant, like even just mailing something to them, then they have your address and they have your name, then they search up what you did. And we're in a day and age where you can just ask ChatGPT, hey, Shane Borman, and they'll pull all this shit up from him. So it's more like you gotta be careful what you tell people sometimes, especially females. But yeah,
we'll get into some of the mythic shit that it might pull up when you bring up one Shane Travis Borman. But
Shane Travis Borman,
Travis,
aka Buff Weekly, aka Shaggy.
So just so we know, though, a little back, Buff Weekly was your cat, Buffy, correct?
Buffy was my dog, and
dog,
Weekly's Weekly's my mom's maiden name.
Because there was a thing that went around long ago, like put your mother's maiden name and your first pet together, and that would be your porn star name.
Yep, that's how I got Buffy Weekly.
So it was Buffy Weekly, but I thought Buffy sounded gay, so I was like, make it Buff, and then mine.
Well, I mean, if you did gay porn, you might want to use Buffy.
Where it's raining. Do gay guys cum glitter?
I
don't know, Shaggy. Do you know that answer to
that? I've never had an experience.
Do you know the answer to that question?
I don't know the answer. I've never been with a gay man.
It's like
only straight men.
I've never been with straight men. I've never been with a man.
That's going to be disappointing to some of our viewers today, but
that's going to be disappointing to some of our viewers.
John Holmes, did gay porn, so when we're going on the legendary status of Buff Weekly, we have to ask some crucial questions.
Some of the women I've been with have looked like men, so
okay. A little. Also, quick fun fact: if I did the porn star name thing, mine would be Blackie Roberts, which I think would be offensive now, maybe in this day and age.
A little bit,
yeah. So I'll just go with Barry McCockiner. Anyway, so me and Shaggy have known each other since fifth grade, around 1996 or 97. We started working at a place called Telespectrum Worldwide. I got this job to take care of my daughter, Lexi, who was born in 1996, and it was in Wheeling, like an hour away. We live in this little town named Woodsfield, or lived in the Wood, double deuces, throw them up, straight Woodsfield gangsters. Anyway, and Shaggy started going up with me because I didn't have a license. I'm this dude that had a permit for like 15 years and just had friends drive.
Let me add something. Let me piggyback on that before you say any more.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know why this was so relevant for him, Shaggy? Because back in the fucking day, I had to always drive. So I'm getting pulled over and getting arrested. Meanwhile, Charles has a clean bill of health into his 30s and gets a license. So now he has this ridiculously great record. And me, you know, I'm lucky that I even have a license.
Yeah.
Just wanted to add that, but yeah.
Do you remember that one time me and you was going across the suspension bridge, Eddie? You had that car that had T-tops in it. I forget what it was. But that old man that we worked, the probe.
Yeah.
That old man that we worked with at Telespectrum, I forget his name. We was going across the suspension bridge, and I said, "Hey, Eddie," it's like, get over there towards the sidewalk a little ways. And you did, and I reached out your car, leaned out your car, and I smacked that old man in the ass really fucking hard.
I don't remember. Now I remember. Now that you bring it to an existence, I remember that, dude. That was, goddamn, that had to be 2001, 2002, maybe.
Yeah, that stung my hand. And I just remember looking in the rearview mirror, cracking up laughing because that old man sitting there holding his ass, just shaking his head. Then we get to the end of the bridge and we get the stoplight, and I'm like, shit, I hope he can't run fast. Like,
you know what else? That Charles, we told him about it, but it was me and you. When you got pissed at Broski and you took him to East Wheeling and say he doesn't like black people and just dropped him off. Do you remember that?
I remember that.
Hold on, there's more to that story, and I have to. If that story is going to be told, it has to be told properly within context, and a name has to be brought up.
Yes, let's do all that.
Okay, I was with Sarah at the time, and she wanted to go see the Pink Floyd laser show or whatever, and we worked with this guy named Broski. There's so many Broski stories. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Broski.
Rest in peace.
He looked like Harry Potter. And what's funny about that is years later, I had never been on the Harry Potter tip. I never knew about it. When I started having a gang of kids later in life, when I got with Jess, we started watching Harry Potter, and I'm like, when I saw Broski later down the road, I'm like, dude, it turns out the whole time me calling you Harry Potter was a flex instead of a, Broski will be coming into this later when we tell the story about the axe handle. But anyway.
Is he coming in as a ghost?
No, because I'm talking about he'll be brought up again.
Oh, okay.
But
I don't know. Maybe Sarah's car. She had that Cougar, which is that's funny now.
She had that the white one.
And I don't know if it was broke with the big hatchet man in the back. I don't know if it was broke down or why Shaggy ended up driving us there. But we went with Broski, and this was during Shaggy's was adamantly against weed. Period.
No, I wasn't against it. I just got my CDLs, and I just started driving truck for D&K Transfer there in Warwood. And if we got pulled over, back in the day, weed was a big thing. If we would got pulled over back then, I would have lost my CDLs in West Virginia. So that's why I didn't want him to bring weed. I didn't care about weed. I used to smoke it. I stopped smoking it because of panic attacks. But that was the reason why I told him not to bring it. But he didn't listen. And
then I told on him. So Sarah, I think Sarah's in the passenger seat with Shaggy. My girlfriend. I'm in the back with Broski, and I rat him out because I know Shaggy's gonna take it way too far. So Shaggy pulled the car over instantly in East Wheeling, which is the mini ghetto where we live. Pulls over in East Wheeling, punches Broski in the face, throws him out of the fucking car. Then he chirps away like Dukes of Hazzard and sees this black dude walking down the street, and he slams the brakes on because Shaggy's good at that. And he rolls down the window and he's like, "Hey, that kid back there said he don't like beep," but he didn't say black people. And then he drove off. And Sarah, I think this was after the show because Sarah felt bad and went back to get it.
It was after the show. We was on our way back to McMecken, and you told him Broski, and I started bitching at Broski, and Broski told me to stop being a fag.
Yeah,
that's why I pulled off and went down to East Wheeling, and I punched him. I pulled him out. I threw him down on the side, and I seen that black dude walking up, and I rolled down the window because he was just sitting there staring at me for doing that. And I said, "Yeah, I just did that to that guy because he said he don't like." Beep. Yeah.
But here's the question:
I try to keep it PG.
I lived with him in McMecken, not with him, but down the road from him. That's when I first moved up here. Before I moved up here, and he was doing good. He had this nice setup for working from home, and then he just died. Do you guys know what happened? I have no clue what happened to him.
I think it was a drug overdose, I believe,
because he seemed pretty clean. He must have been doing it on the the DL, because I don't. When we seen him, me and Ira went over, because he was living like between Benwood and McMecken, like right there in a house, and it was like a duplex, and we went in, and he had a nice little place downstairs. We went upstairs. He had this big old desk and a computer, and he said, "I'm doing great." And then 2 weeks later, I seen him in the paper that he was dead. I was like, "Wow!" I didn't see that coming.
It's possible he was holding a wand and pointed it at himself and said, "Expector Trotum."
Okay, so hold on. We kind of got ahead of ourselves. So I started working at Telespectrum. Shaggy was driving. Eddie came along around 98 or 99.
January 99.
And then, so what you got to understand is there's this whole crew of people from Woodsfield that have been lifelong friends, and we all go up there to work. And then because we're us, we make a bunch of friends from there too. So now there's like this giant crew. There's like a Wheeling crew, a Woodsfield crew, a Belair crew, because Josh and Coley and all them people too. And then Eddie, he came from that crew as well. And so we all start hanging out. Now, the story that we just told about Broski, were me and Sarah living in the Castle House then, or was that when we were still squatting in Warwood or in McMecken?
It was around that time when you moved. I'm not sure exactly when you guys moved to the Castle.
So anyway, to include Eddie into the stories, that's why I did that. So that's where this came about, that Eddie started hanging out with everybody through Telespectrum. Then they closed down, and there was another place called Epic Star. Now, to preface everything that happens from this point on, I want everybody listening here, I want everybody to know that telemarketing is the most debaucherous, like, felonious, crazy, lunatic, sluts, felons, like, it's just the worst people on planet Earth, and I'm one of them, and I love all these people to death. I'm not like disparaging anyone, because some of them are my dearest friends, but it just always
I got my first STD at a telemarketing place.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. Well, you're first of many.
Was that Coco?
No, I never banged. We'll get to Don't jump the shark, motherfucker.
That's like the climax of the show. When we get to talk
anyway,
about
so I always thought that it was funny because we have all these professional things that we're supposed to say, and like we're supposed to sound all professional and shit. And there's people bumping rails off their cubicle, people getting blown in the parking lot. There's drug dogs coming in. There's all kinds of shit. So like, that's why we're doing this, because we have so many stories of that's why it's Telemarketing Chronicles Part 1, because not only did we meet and our crazinesses align at being telemarketers, but also there was a bunch of characters that we met through there that became dear friends of ours, and the story just keeps told. Right.
What was that movie Leonardo DiCaprio is in, where he did the fake stockbroker stuff in a big telemarketing group?
Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall. That's basically what telemarketing is.
Yeah,
I mean that was us on a not on a millionaire scale, but that was definitely us for sure.
Oh, definitely not a millionaire scale.
But that's how people acted and the things that we did. some of the things we did should have been illegal, which I'm pretty sure everything we did was illegal.
I'm pretty sure they were.
Most of them were illegal.
As long as Ken Grove was working, I know we weren't doing everything on the level.
We're only here right now because the statute of limitations is run out. No. Oh. So the whole purpose of this is we have Shaggy now. We're going to have Shaggy in the future, but there are other people that we worked with that can testify, because some of these stories that we're going to tell are just going to seem fucking bonkers and ridiculous and like, no way that actually fucking happened. But the actual people involved will come on and say, yeah, man, I saw that shit too. And the benefit of having Shaggy here and other people is there's shit that happened that we completely fucking forgot about.
Like the time you guys hit them.
You got to say too, that don't know what call center telemarketing, we're the people that call and ask you about donations, insurance, Discover card, country, whatever. What was that one? That country card, that credit card,
cross country Visa.
Yeah, cross country bank,
fleet, you name it, and we called for that. So just to put a little backstory for the people that might not know what a call center is.
When your cell phone pops possible spam, it's one of us.
It's us, more than likely.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
one of the funniest things I remember, like what my first week of being up there, it's total culture shock because I live in this country ass town, and then I get up there and see Charles in his element on lunch break. A Chinese man comes up there to deliver Chinese food to people on a bicycle or moped is what it was. And Charles, I believe it was Charles and Jive.
Yep.
Took it and hit it behind the dumpster. And that guy come down, he was pissed. I was just sitting out there like laughing, thinking we're all going to go to jail. But no cops came.
Yeah. And another funny story about that Chinese guy was one time James called and ordered chicken fried rice and said, hold the cat. And they just brought him rice.
I remember that.
I never heard that one. Wow.
Yeah, we put the Chinese delivery guy's bike in the freaking dumpster or behind the dumpster. At another telemarketing place, to bring Broski back up, it was at JAK. I go behind JAK to take a piss, and I go to piss behind a dumpster, and there's a fucking bike back there parked, and me being an asshole, I'm like, I'm going to piss all over this motherfucker's bike. So I piss all over the handles, piss all over the seat and shit, and I come back around, and I'm smoking my cigarette. And, you know, you guys both know, knowing me for years, you can tell when I just did something or when I'm up to something. You know, I got that look on my face. And Josh Walls is like, what did you do, man? And I'm like, nothing, dude. And he's like, come on, what did you do? And I'm like, dude, some idiot parked their bike back there and I pissed all over it. And Broski's like, what? That's my bike. And I'm like, oh, I had no idea. Like, I wouldn't have done it if I would have known it was your bike. You know
you rode a bike from McMecken?
I don't know if he was living in McMecken at the time.
Like, goddamn.
You would have done it if you knew it was his bike. If you knew it was his bike, you would have done it if you knew it was his bike.
I know.
You used to follow behind people with freaking lighter fluid and squeeze it on their jeans when they wasn't looking as they was walking away, and catch them on fire and laugh.
I think what the problem was, Shaggy, because you and Broski never really got along at all. You were looking for a reason to just like get him. And what I think it was because he has such a big mouth, and he was mouthy. We took it like, if he talked to me like that, I would just laugh it off. I'm like, that's just how Broski is. But I know you, and it probably pissed you off because there wasn't one time he would come over. He'd come over and be cool, but he would come over and he would start something with somebody or say something. And if you said something, I mean, he would say something ignorant. I'm surprised he didn't get his ass kicked more by people when he went over there, or at least argue.
Well, I'm like a little firecracker. I got a real short fuse. It goes off real quick, but I get over it after I go off. Like,
that's true.
I'm very easily triggered, and I don't know why, but then I feel bad after I go off one.
I spent most of my childhood trying to trigger.
He made it easy for you though, Shaggy, because I mean he would talk a lot of shit. I mean, just I don't really think he meant it. I just think it was his way. That's what he did. But I mean, every time I now that you say it and you're bringing all these old memories in my head, you guys were always going at it. But now I mean I see why, because he truly was a dickhead. I mean, for the most part. Rest in peace, but I mean he was a dickhead.
He mellowed out as the years went on, but and a lot of us do really.
I mean, sometimes, but like I said, I seen him right before he passed away, and he was still talking about people he couldn't stand, and he hated everybody and hated his duplex neighbor on the other side, and was thinking about calling on something about him. I mean, he was dealing drugs or something, and so he still had his ways, but I mean, he was alone for the most part. I mean, I don't think he had a relationship. It didn't seem like he had one with his family either. So, you know, he was probably miserable because of that, I'm guessing, or something like that anyway.
Well, I guess the cat's out of the bag. We'll go ahead and tell it right now. We used to work at this place called Epic Star in a little sleepy town called Warwood, West Virginia. And there was a girl there that worked there named Mandy. And we like sweet talk. Well, okay, a little backstory. Shaggy had already become a porn star when a couple years before, when I made this movie called The Devil Made Me Do It, where him and this kid named Chris fucked this bitch that looked like Angus White or Angus Young from AC/DC. So he had already
she had a vagina,
right? But her face looked like Angus Young.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he had already done this, and he was always bothering me like, let's make another movie, let's make another movie, let's make another movie. And we'll get into more of this later, but Shaggy, it was known at the time for the fattest, nastiest, behemoth pile of fucking shit. Shaggy would jump to the front of the line and just be like, let me fuck her.
Shaggy loved it. It wasn't forced. It wasn't forced behavior. He loved it.
Yeah, it was his way.
I'm a tall guy, and I tell you what, I have back issues sometimes, and I love fat women because their vagina is automatically up higher for you.
Don't say vagina. Say pussy.
Pussy. Okay, their pussy's up. I'm trying to be respectable towards women here, Charles. I'm not 20 anymore.
Shaggy respects BBWs.
Don't. To use the words of my dearly departed father, who is chilling on a cloud in glory right now, son, that's why they call them bitches. So don't. All right. Okay, so go ahead.
I like big, beautiful fat bitches because their ass helps their pussy be up a little higher, and I don't have to get all down in there. And then the skinny girls, it's harder. They're always, you got to do it doggy style with them. And I like to look at a girl in the face whenever I'm fucking them. That's why I like missionary and big fat women. And, you know, you get with the big fat woman, you make them squirt a couple times, they're not going to cheat on you. They're liable to feed you afterwards.
I guess there's a good strategy of that.
You do remember how hungry we were and how many months we went at just eating ramen noodles at the McMecken house. I was tired of that. I was sick and tired of that.
Shaggy did sneak his Taco Bell every now and again, though.
Anyway, hold on. So we work with this girl named Mandy.
But she was not fat. She was pretty. I actually liked her. I wish we didn't do what we did to her, because I would seriously marry her.
He wasn't.
He's like, I wish we didn't do what we did to her.
She was a willing participant, sir.
Well, yeah, she participated in it, but she could turn her life around, done the hokey pokey.
Well, I'm just saying. So we get her to the house. We're squatting at this house in McMecken. We told this guy we were interested in buying it, and then we just moved in. And for whatever reason, he never turned off any of the utilities.
I was there for one call that he had. I think it was 7 or 8 months in of just squatting there. And he goes, "Are you ready to buy it?" And then I remember Zach just like, "Nope, I think I need a few more months. I'll get back to you with that." Just hung up on him. I'm like, wow. I'm thinking, does he know? Is it family? I could only think it was family or somebody that owed him money.
I had no idea.
Or a drunk that went to his bar, maybe, that let him, use the house.
So
oddly enough, across the street from Broski's house, by the way.
We get Mandy back there, and there's like a whole group of guys, and we film the negotiation so that there's no fucking, so that there could be nothing said. And in the end, she was like, "I'll fuck every guy in this room for a joint, except for Broski." That's why I wanted to. That's why I said he would come up later. She was like, "I'll fuck every guy in this room except for Broski." So,
and she let us make a movie, but this is where she got pissed. When we was done making the movie, she was supposed to get the tape. Y'all gave her a blank tape, and then we know what happened to the movies afterwards. Somebody put them on VHS tapes and sold them for $5 each all around the telemarketing place. And me, the star, did not profit from that at all. It was just the producer and the filmer.
Well, the contract, Charles, if I'm not mistaken, was just Taco Bell.
Well, we didn't have to pay Shaggy. He loved to do it.
Yeah. My payment was the joy of doing it myself, I guess.
Word on the street was even the actress in the movie had to pay $5. But nonetheless,
paid more to be with Buff Weekly.
So Shaggy is involved in this movie, but Eddie at the time had a particular proclivity for pharmaceuticals.
Oh God!
And he falls asleep on the couch. And
George Lachire, thank you.
And in this house there was like a gold 70s motorcycle helmet. It was like one of those glittery ones. And like,
I didn't even remember the helmet.
Well, because you were passed out, you were asleep.
We was able to put the helmet on you and you didn't even know it.
Yeah, so like in between shots, like they would do stuff and I would film it, I would set up the shot and everything, and or the director would. Anyway, so they're in between shots and the director's like, what if we fucking set on Eddie's head and Shaggy can fuck her setting on Eddie's head, but we were gracious enough to put a motorcycle fucking helmet on his head. I don't even know if he knew this, but then later on in the movie, he appears later, me and him sitting in the window watching them have sex, eating popcorn.
That's the part I don't remember. I don't remember that part. I vaguely remember the helmet.
He still was wearing the helmet when he was looking through the window.
The greatest opening ever was Shaggy coming out to Bad to the Bone.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about that, man.
That was the opening. Like, I mean, he got right into business, dude, and just started hammering that defenseless BBW.
Yeah.
And then Eddie gets has a brief cameo where they're literally happy, and the director was so fucking keen, he would like get underneath and stuff, so you would see like close-ups of Shaggy's stuff going in. So there's Eddie close up on his face with a helmet, and Shaggy right above him with balls going into this BBW pussy.
But you know what? As historical and great as this movie was, a lot of people remember my role. I've heard a lot of people say you did great for that brief moment you were in it. So it was kind of like an epic moment. It was kind of like the beginning of something great. So
it's like
you got to pay your dues.
It's like George Carlin in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, where he's talking about we'll give head for a ride. You know, he just shows up and they're like, well, don't people get mad when you don't make the head and make with the head? And he's like, sure, if you don't make with the head. And he's like, well, if it'll get me 200 miles down the road closer to my family, I'll take a shot in the mouth. That was like you. That was your cameo. That, and then you showed up later. You showed up later with the popcorn scene.
Well, and then another thing too, the backstory with George Lachire. I don't think we had that much weed, or the weed was gone, and you know, I wasn't much of a drinker, but I mean, he comes in with these pills. I don't even remember what they were. He's just like, I'm like, you like those? And of course he's going to love them. So, I mean, he's not going to say, oh, I'm snorting these for nothing. And he said, you want one? And I'm like, okay. I didn't know what it was though. And I still don't, to this day, I don't remember what it was, but I took it. And then all of a sudden it felt like someone was like clamped a metal fucking vice on my head. And I started hurting, and then I started blacking out. And that's how we got to the video, man. Cause I mean, I don't know. I was sober, I wouldn't have done that, but I was so
we refeed
fucked up,
you.
and then to forget everything and wake up in the morning and I'm just like, what the fuck happened? And then this video's out and I see it, and then oddly enough, I was impressed by it more than I was like upset that it happened. I was like, wow. I mean, I did all that. And then everyone's like, yeah, that was cool.
That's because
that was
the director,
fucked up humor, who knows?
The director at the time had a really keen eye, and even for just having a camcorder, could make it come off as slightly professional and shit. So anyway, the girl ends up getting fucked by Leatherface with the handle of an axe, and the movie is released. It was even released to the point where people would come to the McMecken house that I didn't even know and be like, "Hey, do you have any of those movies?" Or they would come to the director's house and be like,
titled The McMecken Massacre.
The McMecken Trailer Trash Massacre. Now, since we brought up Eddie's proclivity for pharmaceuticals 20 or more years ago, I think I'll let Shaggy, before I tell the story of Yarn's...
That one woman that came over there with his what?
No, Yarn's Grail Cup.
Grail Cup?
Yeah, but you don't know that story. But I'll let you tell your story that you wanted to tell about Eddie.
Here it comes.
That you just asked about. The story you asked about with Yarn.
Oh, okay. Yarn comes there one night. I'm sleeping. He comes home. This house is always trashed. Always trash everywhere. And Yarn has some meth. First time I've ever seen meth in my life. Only thing I've ever seen in my life was weed. Yarn comes there and he's telling me about it. He says, yeah, you just have to do a little bump about the size of a matchtip and it fucking speeds you up and keep you up all night. I never partaked in it.
I didn't believe that story, by the way, but go ahead. But what he said till it happened, but go ahead. Didn't mean to interrupt.
I'm sitting there on my couch. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and go to sleep. Well, I went to sleep about midnight, woke up the next day, and the whole fucking house was spotless, where Yarn cleaned all night long. And I was like, how the fuck did he clean this whole house like this? Well, later that night, Eddie comes over, and Yarn has some more of this stuff, and he puts out
he saved some for me, he said.
He puts out 10 lines on this mirror. And Yarn's like, I'm going to go take a shower. He's like, you go ahead and do a bump or two, and then when I get out, we'll do the rest of them. So Eddie, he does a line, and then he does another line. He's like, well, I'll just go ahead and do one more. And I'm sitting there like, I was like, oh, Eddie, I'm like, I hope you don't overdose. I didn't know what this stuff was like. Before it was all said and done, before Yarn even gets out the shower, Eddie did all 10 damn lines. And I'm like, I hope you don't have a heart attack. And then he was all normal and stuff, though. And then later on, I don't know why, we get in Eddie's car, and me, Yarn, and
normal, but go ahead.
Me, Eddie, and Yarn get in Eddie's car, and we go to Bel Air to this hotel, to these girls' hotel room. And I guess
about that.
me and Eddie was allowed to come in, but we ended up leaving because that girl said, that son of a bitch right there can go. I didn't know this. But that girl was a hooker, and Yarn had got some services from her and didn't pay her.
I forgot about that. I forgot about that whole thing. Wow.
I never knew this part of the story, man.
I chose to block out for some reason because I remember it now, but fuck, I forgot all the rest, the whole backstory about the. And by the way, that meth, that was probably the most powerful shit I ever had in my life. Like, I've had some before. I mean, I'm from California. I've done coke and other stuff. I'm not ashamed to admit what I've done, but like they were little too, and that's why he probably put it that way by design, because he knew it would fuck everybody up. And I'm just sitting there. I mean, I was so high that I thought it was more than that, like it was laced or something. And when I first told him that I did all that, he looked at me like I was gonna die. Like, he's gonna die and it's my fault. Like, that's what he kept looking at me like, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And I was, but holy shit. I mean, it was the most powerful shit I ever had in my life. And the fact that I would agree to go motel and hang out with a couple of hookers or even talk to them, that'll tell you how fucked up I was. But yeah, Yarn evidently knew had a history with her. So, or one of them, I think there was a redheaded one, and I don't remember the other one. It was
they were hot.
One that said she knew him. I think
Yarn cock blocked us that night.
Oh yeah.
Well, I was definitely gonna fuck one of them hookers that night. But
wasn't it his idea to go there though? Like because
yeah, that's right. It was. I think it was. I know we went to Bel Air to this hotel in Bel Air, this little hotel. I think it was at the end of Bel Air, if I remember right, down past Burger King, somewhere around that area.
I remember too because I had. Now you're making me. You were right. Charles was saying that Shaggy remembers all these things we don't, which is crazy. You got a better memory than both of us because you're bringing up stuff that I remember now, but I forgot for some reason. And when we went down there, it was his idea. He wanted to get laid. He was all high. And I told him, well, I'll do it since you did, got the other stuff. And I remember I just got my income tax or some stuff. I had like thousands of dollars on me or something like that. I was like, all right, Yarn, we'll get you a hooker. Like, it was just the idea to get him a hooker. It wasn't that we probably wanted to get laid, but I remember the idea was to get Yarn laid. So that's why we went over there, I think. And obviously they're like, no, fuck you. You owe us money, or he did something. I don't remember what it was he did, but he evidently did something.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, the solo cup that he's talking about, Shaggy, that you didn't know, everybody got all drunk and everything. It could have been even the McMecken Massacre taping, but in the morning there was this beat up red solo cup in the corner. It looked like a light was on it and it said Yarn. And me and Charles were like, man, I wonder what that fucking cup went through. Because how many glasses he probably had.
No, I think this was the night. I think this was the night that TJ almost died.
Yeah,
and we woke up. We woke up with like, because there were bitches sleeping and everybody sleeping, and me and Eddie were up, and we saw that cup, and it really did look like the light of God, like oh, like projecting onto his cup.
It looked like a 5-year-old wrote Yarn on it because there was a big old Y, and it looked like it was kind of like bent in a certain way, and I'm like, did he write it on there fucked up like someone was going to take his cup or something? Because no one else had their name on it but him. So, he was like, I don't want anybody fucking with my cup.
Well, that night was Shaggy, again with being his fucking like degenerate self, wanted to fuck this bitch that we worked with at Epic Star named TJ. And she looked like Jay Leno. She had like a big chin. But Shaggy didn't give a fuck. He wanted to fuck her. And she pulls up. And she had already had like an empty. I don't know how alcohol works. I'm not like the biggest alcohol guy. Like I like.
She had a gallon of vodka.
Was it a gallon or a half gallon?
She had a whole gallon and an empty half gallon.
Empty gallon. She had an empty gallon, I think, in like on her passenger side floor,
and a shit ton of Xanax.
Right. So then it's more alcohol than I've ever seen it. Well, not. I mean, other than kegs. But like one person consume, and I was friends with Jive and saw him drink 70 beers. So apparently from Warwood or wherever she lived to McMecken, she had drank this gallon, and it was Stoley's. The empty gallon was on the fucking passenger side floor. And then Shaggy said she had 2 other half gallons plus Xanax. Well, as the night goes on, Shaggy's like trying to fuck her, and he takes her outside to fuck her. And then he comes back in and he's like...
The basement. We went down in the basement.
Was it the basement? Well, how did she end up outside?
There's a door. Remember the door that you like went running out and said, "What's up, McMecken?"
Oh, yeah. In a minute, too. Shit, I forgot about that.
Is this the McMecken basement?
So they go in the basement to try to fuck, and Shaggy comes up to me and he's like, dude, I'm like, did you fuck her? He's like, no, she shit her pants. I'm like, what do you mean she shit her pants? He's like, she's fucking so fucked up, man. And I'm like, let's go in the basement and see if she's okay, man. Because Shaggy's just mad. Like he can't get no pussy off of Jay Leno because she shit her fucking pants. So we can't find her. We go outside and she's laying beside the house, just passed the fuck out, smelling like shit. And JP, he's like, I gotta get out of here, man, because I got Warren. And he fucking leaves. He like dips. So we carry TJ into the fucking house, and we're smoking weed, doing whatever, hanging out with bitches and stuff. And I'm like, it seems like it's been like forever. And I'm like, Shaggy, have you checked on TJ? Because she's laying in his room. Conveniently, Shaggy puts her in his room, in case maybe.
I didn't want her in my room. You all threw her in my room.
Oh, okay. All right. But
Shaggy wasn't against the idea.
Right. So he kicks the door open, flips the light on, and he's like, "Hey, TJ, you dead yet?" And you hear her like grunt. And he's like, "Okay." And he shuts the door, shuts the light off, and he's like, "She's fine." And like that's how he checked on her. You know what I mean? Like it was so fucking
remember
funny.
that downstairs though, how fucked up it was? There was a hole that you can see from the upstairs to the downstairs, and they had all that canned meat or what guts or what the fuck was in those jars that were down there. And
yeah, it was me and Jeff Anlinger had shot all the jars so that it smelled like decaying, rot, dead. So it smelled like dead hookers.
I don't know why I went down there one time and it was horrible. I mean, it made the rest of the house look like great.
I used to piss down that hole you speak of into the basement.
I did too. And then one time, so we'll tell this story. Eddie wasn't there for this, but he knows the story. So in the basement is also the garage. Okay. And this was like right in the middle of this like happy little neighborhood. And Shaggy has he already starts laughing. Shaggy has a proclivity. It's one of the things he's known for, like how a guy has a catchphrase or like a special move or whatever. One of the things that Shaggy used to do and still does, but not to the extent that he used to, was he would always try to make you look at his cock or his balls or his asshole. And he even had special little moves like the fruit bowl, the wandering Jew, the frog stance. Like he had special moves that he would do. So anyway, I don't know where I was at because I didn't work day shift, but somehow I got home and it was still daylight. And Aaron and Gary and Zach and Shaggy are there, and they blindfold me, and they take me downstairs, and they're like, they try to throw me in the pool, but obviously they tried to put a blindfold on me.
We told you there's a surprise in the basement.
Yeah, we
blindfolded you.
Right. But I was too smart for that, so I didn't go in. I take the fucking blindfold off, and there's a baby pool. But it's not really a baby pool. It's a little bit bigger than a baby pool. And we all share the same consciousness because we're all fucking idiots. So in my mind, I'm seeing all these wild parties with girls in this fucking baby pool. And I start cracking up laughing. And dude, 2.5 seconds couldn't have gone by. And Shaggy's butt naked, completely butt naked. And he's like, hey guys, let's see how fast it takes my nuts to shrivel. And he walked into the middle of the fucking baby pool, and he starts to squat like a catcher, his nuts like hovering over the cold water. And so me being the friend that I am, I grab his clothes, throw half of them to Zach. So Zach and Gary run out one door, which is the door to the inside, and I run out the outer door. Me and Aaron.
Half my clothes. Hell, you threw all my clothes to him.
Oh, I thought I had some of them and he had some of them. I thought
maybe. I just knew all my clothes were gone.
So on my way out, I noticed the garage door opener. So I fucking hit the garage door opener, and it's like summertime. So there's people
4th
out.
of July.
Huh?
It's the 4th of July.
Well, that's my birthday.
It's having a 4th of July party.
So there's people mowing, having a 4th of July party, cooking out, and I just start screaming, "What's up, Big Mac?" And they all look over as the fucking garage door is slowly going up to reveal Shane Foreman's naked fucking body. And the whole neighborhood's looking at him, and I'm holding one door, and Zach's holding the other door. And Shaggy's running back and forth, butt naked, swinging around, going from door to door to door to door to door, trying to. But he never thought I could just lay down. I could just lay down in the pool and no one would see me, or right here is the garage door button that Charles hit when he on his way out the door. I could just hit that. It goes on forever, and people are just shocked, like pale white look. Like I can't believe it's like a scene from like Police Academy or something. It could never happen in fucking real life. Like how Proctor would always end up at the gay bar, and he would end up naked somehow. Shaggy, it was like that. So the whole neighborhood of McMicken is looking at Shaggy. Come on, guys. Come on. This isn't funny. Which I never understood why, because he liked being naked. Anyway, I think at some point he ended up shutting the garage door or laying down. I can't remember how it ended because I was fucking laughing so hard.
Hey, Shaggy, talking about being naked, I always tell Charles this story. When we went to see Joey,
and he opens up the door and
driving away, he's waving from the door naked, showing you.
That was the first time I ever met Joey too. And like you go into his house and you're like, Shaggy's out in the car. And I don't know, you must have told him that I like to get naked and moon
I
people.
think everybody knew at that point.
He just opens up the door and he's sitting there waving with his robe open and his fucking dick just hanging and swinging. And I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm like, that's another Shaggy right there.
Shaggy was so impressed and happy. Like I saw that and I told Joey, I'm like, because the massacre tape already happened. You know, Shaggy's already naked at the house a couple of times. So I'm like, Joey, Shaggy loves naked. He would love it if you would just get naked in front of that door. I bet you he would crack up. And he goes, all right, hold on. And go out there. And then I go out there and I look up and Joey's just like waving like this. And Shaggy was just cracking up, man. He had me rolling.
It's like, oh,
it's like he sees another spirit animal out there like himself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It was a spirit animal. Joey was
I thought for sure I was the only shaven Yeti in this world.
So Shaggy has this other story that I don't remember, and apparently I was there about driving home backwards from work.
Remember whenever
Eddie remembers it because I told Eddie, and he's like, I remember.
Yeah.
Remember whenever I kept neutral slamming the Delta 88, and I broke the transmission doing that, but we had reverse. I didn't have money for a tow truck. Didn't have a lot of money back then, so we drove basically from Wheeling backwards all the way to McMicken in my Delta 88, and I always pissed Charles off because Charles couldn't even back into a parking spot, and Charles was like, I can't even back into a fucking parking spot. How the hell can you drive all the way to McMicken backwards like this? I'm like,
I remember that Delta 88. I remember Shaggy used to like to blink his lights so people would think the cops were coming. I remember that Delta 88. I keep telling Shaggy or Charles about it, where you had those little glow things in the ashtray that you stuck there, and you were so impressed by those things. Like you're telling me like you just put $1,000 piece of equipment in there. You're like, Eddie, look at these. These are so cool. And I'm looking at them. And this was the time me and you went to Taco Bell without everybody else, I think. We went down there and you're like, I'm hungry. Fuck those guys. And I'm like, Shaggy, we can both get something to eat and we can we won't tell anybody. Because that was one of Shaggy's thing. He used to take the Delta down to Taco Bell. And was it Moundsville? We used to go to Moundsville, I think.
I think it was South Wheeling.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. South
Kenwood.
I think one time we went to Moundsville because I remember we drove by the car wash and everybody on the other side, you just kept blinking lights. You're like, I'm going to fuck with all these people and tell them the cops are coming or the cops are right over there. You got a kick out of that. And
that and Wheeling in the center of the light poles, if you flash your lights at them, it would make them turn green if it was red because they thought it was an emergency vehicle coming. And I would show people that. I'm like, I was like, watch this. I ain't gonna have to sit here at this red light. And I'd come up to a red light and I'd start flashing my lights real quick. Yeah. And it would make it would trigger and make them turn green because they thought it was flashing siren lights coming.
Well, hold on. The thing about driving backward, the thing about any of the shenanigans that we ever did, we never feared police. At least I never did. Eddie had the fear.
We never thought about getting pulled over. I was the one that would get pulled over all the time.
Right, but we never thought about like we're gonna go to jail or this is highly illegal. This is shitty. Somebody could fucking die. We never. It was just like this is gonna be funny. So let's just fucking do it. And whatever
you
happened,
guys remember,
fucking
Charles,
happened.
back in the day when we worked in Steubenville, where I think I drove like 60 miles an hour, ran every stoplight, every stop sign, all the way from McMecken to Steubenville, so we could get there on time to eat pizza. And we actually got pulled over, and I told the cop that, and he let us go.
Yeah, he let you, and you almost got decapitated too because you got there was a roadwork sign, but it was bent.
I remember that.
It was bent out into the lane, and Eddie's going so fast, like it takes off his fucking side view mirror. I had my Riddlebox jersey, and my Riddlebox jersey forever had a white stain on it from the adhesive of the side view mirror, like stuck all. You know what I mean? We didn't give a fuck. We got to get pizza.
Though, Charles remembered though. You remembered that though. You remembered like we're probably half a mile down the road, and you're looking like you knew we were going to hit it because you were laughing, like you were laughing, and then when it hit it. And you're like, I seen it coming, and you know me, I'm going to be mad for a second because the fucking rearview mirror just popped the fuck off, and I'm like, really, you couldn't tell me? And you're just you're like, it was too funny. I couldn't say anything. And,
you tell that story.
I have a bad habit of doing that.
He's got a real bad habit of that. One time we was driving from Woodsfield up to work at Telespectrum, and there was road work there in Bel Air, and there's a stoplight right along Route 7, and I'm always doing 80 miles per hour. We're in his parents' car, and I'm driving 80 miles per hour, and I'm just like sitting there driving. I look over at Charles, and I'm talking to him while we're going up Route 7. And I'm looking at Charles, and he's cracking up laughing. And I'm like, what the fuck's he cracking up laughing at? And I'm like, what are you laughing at? And he just like points in front of us, and I turn and look, and it's a red light. And I fucking slam on the brake, and I swear we're a foot from rear-ending somebody. We slid within a foot of rear-ending somebody. I was like, Charles. It's like, why the fuck didn't you tell me there's a red light while I was talking to you? He's like, I figured you had it. I was like,
his answer to me with the same story, with the same everything that you said, just a different thing, was that he thought it was funny. Like, I'm sitting here like, we could have been dead, because what if I moved over a little more? It could have took somebody's head off, or I think it easily would have.
But what a way to go, right? It was even like that when I was driving, and Zach was like, see how fast you can take this turn.
90-degree turn.
You know what I mean? Like, and then
I told him no.
And then I knock over a stop. I don't make it, right? Of course I don't fucking make it. I don't make it. I take out a stop sign, and Shaggy says that as soon as the car came to a stop, I get out, grab the bumper, and put the bumper in the trunk, and then sit in the back seat and make Shaggy drive, so that if anybody comes, it looks like he fucking did it on me.
Yeah, there's an old man sitting up on the front porch watching this, like, hold on a second, we got to call the cops. And Charles is like, we ain't got time for that. And
I don't know why I picked up the trunk or the bumper and put it in the trunk. Like
I think it's because it had the front license plates on it, because you had a high license plates.
Yeah.
I think we need to talk about the main event, which is Coco.
We
want the whole backstory, because it's a thing of legend now. Because I remember you going down, reversing on Wheeling by the pawn shop, and just going backwards to get to her. And I didn't know who she was. I'd never seen her. Like, that's Coco. You got out and hugged her right in the street. Like, for you, that because you were law abiding when you were driving for most of the part, more than anybody else, and you see this big voluptuous black BBW, and you reversed and you talked to her. But after that, which I told Charles about, we drove down. I think it was right when we were getting on from Wheeling to go to Benwood, and there was that bus or that van that you said, and I think it was college females.
It was before that. That was before Coco.
Well, no, I thought it was after Coco. It was after Coco, wasn't it, Shane? I think so.
I believe it was after Coco.
No, because I gave you shit, because I was like, you're going to stop for this big fucking fat bitch, but you didn't stop for the fucking volleyball team.
It was us three, wasn't it?
Was it after it? Okay. Either way, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But it just... Or go ahead. That's the whole backstory about it. But
them girls look way too young.
Oh,
they look way too young. 15 will get you 20.
They weren't fucking fat.
I think they were in college. I think it was a college van.
Yeah, because it wasn't a school van. It wasn't a yellow. It wasn't yellow. It was like a West Liberty or some kind of shit like that.
It was like a chartered college bus. Like I could clearly see that it was either a volleyball team or a softball team or something like that.
Or like cheerleaders or something like that.
Yeah. They were definitely worth pulling over during that time. And
they kept rolling up by the car.
20s.
They kept rolling up by the car like waving and giggling and all this shit. And we're like trying to get them to show titties and all this stuff. And then finally they're like, get off the exit. And Shaggy has this, the scowl of disgust of Shane that he gets. And Shaggy just has this scowl of disgust. I'm not fucking stopping. Fuck that shit. And we're like, what the fuck, dude? That's why I think Coco was later, because then later we're going through fucking Wheeling, and there she is in all of her fucking in all of her glory, and he slams the fucking brakes on. And I'm like, what the fuck?
I'm a man about facts. All right. I didn't know for a fact that them girls were old enough to be chasing down. I did know for a fact that Coco was old enough to stop for. And so Coco at Epic Star, whenever she first introduced herself to me, she, we exchanged pleasantries. I told her my name was Shaggy. And she said, my name's Coco. Look what I could do. Outside on the concrete, outside Epic Star, this big ass bitch did a fucking split. And I'm like, oh fuck! I'm like, I'm gonna get me some of that.
Did she work there? Or?
Yeah,
it wasn't called Epic Star at the time.
IMS.
I think it was called IMS, is what it was called at the time. And right out there on the concrete, right out the door, where people went and had the smoke break, she fucking did a split for me, and I was like, damn, that girl rocked my world. I was like, I got to get me some of that. And I never did get the opportunity to. And I really am saddened by this, because I think she'd have been good for me. I think she could have tamed the wild man that is.
I think
everybody knows it's Shaggy.
Find Coco. We need to find her.
We
get
do
her on here and like rekindle what could have been probably your greatest BBW conquest ever.
Yes.
Well, what we left out is what she was wearing.
A muumuu.
A muumuu.
No, it wasn't. It was, she had on tight leopard print leggings. Her gut was hanging out. Yeah, when you talk.
I thought you was talking about when she did the split.
No, I didn't know about that. I just found out about that like 10 minutes ago when we were backstage or whatever.
Yeah, she had like this big dress. I call it a muumuu. But yeah, she did a fucking split right out there on the concrete like that. I was
Did you ask her to do that, or was she already like
she volunteered to do that. And I think she just wanted me to see how flexible. She just wanted me to see how flexible she was.
Yeah, according to the story, she was basically like, I'm Coco, look what I can do.
Yep, exactly. That's how it went.
Instantly shags in love. And how could he not be?
So then later down the road, this thing happens with these girls. And later on, after he fucking blows off these girls because they get off an exit, and we have a little fucking skirmish about that, a little fucking non-pleasantries. Later on, we find ourselves going through town, and we're going down through, and standing in front of West Banco in all of her glory is Coco. Now, to me, I might be embellishing, but to me, Coco seems like she's 6'3", like short, like 450, and like she's wearing like a crop top, leopard. Like, it's not a tank top because it's got like a thin, maybe spaghetti straps. Her gut hangs out.
She was dressed like Peg Bundy, but
she was
a huge bitch. Accurate though, but Shaggy was taller than her, so to me, she looked like she was 5'5" or 5'6" or something like that.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
He slams the brakes on in the middle of town. He like passes her, slams the brakes on, throws it in reverse, and you would think like, dude, you would think he hit the fucking jackpot.
What
you know
we
what I
were
mean?
scared about though, because normally Shaggy wouldn't do that, but chances are we were probably high or had weed or something, and we're in downtown Wheeling where if you do anything wrong, you're going to get pulled over. And fucking Shaggy squealing fucking tires, reversing to go see this voluptuous black BBW.
Mm.
He's like,
Shaggy
You
once
think
fucked
she
a
still
chick.
lives here? I mean, have we
I
looked on
can't
Facebook
find her
under
anywhere. Like
Coco?
I've looked for years just because I think it would be funny to like
If we
get
only
her.
knew her name. I know on her birth certificate it don't say Coco.
It's not her government name.
Yeah.
So
Coco's
if anybody watches this later down the road, and the mystery of Coco,
it's just another classic case of the government trying to keep the black woman down.
let's reunite them. Like when I do the animation later or whatever, you can have Robert Stack like Unsolved Mysteries. Like only you can help solve a mystery, like the mystery of Coco and shit,
I'm
There's
serious. This really
Coco
upsets.
probably still lives here. I bet she still lives in Wheeling, probably.
This really does upset me, guys. It is there's a black and white thing going on out there in this world. Anna Ashby. Everybody knows her name. We can find her just like that.
Is this a hint?
Coco's a black woman. Can't find her.
Prequel to McMecken Massacre? Is that what you're saying, Buff?
I mean, if Anna's down, I'm down.
What if we find Anna and we find Coco or a replica of Coco that you would be impressed with, and we do a shag sandwich? That would be like a prequel from the McMecken Massacre, because you're dead, technically, in the porn world. So
because you died you died in the massacre.
So we bring you back in a prequel.
How you gonna make me look younger than what I was?
Well, you have to shave.
Somehow he had to survive. Somehow he had to survive.
That makes better cinema. I mean, if Jason Voorhees can survive, so can Shane Borman.
Buff Weekly. Shane Borman couldn't survive, but Buff Weekly can survive anything.
He could. I mean,
little
skit in the truck. Remember where he was going back into town? Like, so the legend can live on. So yeah, we could even do that. There's so many options that we can have, because people love BBWs. Shaggy, you love BBWs. They can make a great tape.
I just want to throw this out there, though. My whole point was that it was funny watching people who weren't like hens having sex on screen and making it like a real movie. But I never would have thought that it would blow up the way that it did, because literally everybody where we're from knew about it. Both of them, not just one. And then the movie I made with Winnie the Pooh, everybody knew about that. Everybody knew about the shit. And like, I had no idea that there would be like a market for watching Shane Borman fuck fat bitches or ugly bitches or whatever.
You know why, though? Because Shaggy truly loves the BBW. Like when you just said they weren't 10s, they were a 10 to Shaggy. So
20s.
There's a true love, romance, exciting type porn that we can bring back to America, I think.
Tell Eddie about that chick that came from Indiana and had them scabs all over her.
Oh my, scabies. She gave me scabies. Her name is Jean. Matt Twynham. This was back before there were smartphones. There was Facebook. There was no MySpace. There was that stupid group chat rooms that you can go in. And Matt met this girl. Matt Twynham met this girl in there. She's from Indiana. Her name is Jean. So I get on there. I'm like, let me show you a trick, Matt. I say, I can get this woman here. I was like, I'll pretend like I'm you. So I get on there and I'm say, hey, I'm like, we've been talking a good long while on the computer. I want to hear your voice. And I said, give me a call. So she calls Matt's grandma's house, the number I gave, and I'm on the phone with her. And I was so smoothly talking to her. I'm like, man, you got such a pretty voice. Now that I hear your voice, I got to meet you in person. And I'm like, are you down to make a drive to Woodstock, Ohio? And of course, she looks up, see how far it is, and it's like a 8 or 9 hour drive. And she's
Shag,
like, you know what?
Let me stop you real quick. Give us the visual. What does Jean look like?
Well, she hasn't got.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. She's like, yeah, I think I'll come and meet you. So she knows she's getting laid, right? But the first thing she asked me is, what do you think about girls that are just a little bit big?
A little bit.
I was like, I don't mind. I was like, I love girls that are a little bit big. I like girls that are a little on the heavy side. She wasn't a little on the heavy side, right? She gets to Woodsfield and calls me, and she's at this place called More for Less. It's a grocery store, Woodsfield. Called me from a payphone, because there was payphones back then. So I get there, and I see this car with Indiana plates on it, and I was like, that has to be her. But the car was like the Blues Brothers car. Like it was an old cop car, old junker. And it was leaning to one side. It was leaning on the side this bitch was sitting on. So I'm like, I pull up, and she rolls down her window, and I'm like, so that's like Eugene? She's like, yeah. I'm like, well, I'm Matt. Of course, I had to pretend like I was Matt because she thought I was Matt. And we went back to James and Gretchen's apartment with her, and her hair was all nappy. When she hopped out the car, she was only like 4 foot tall and as big as round as what she was tall.
Like 400 pounds. Huge, like 400 pounds of pancake mix in a trash bag.
100 pound a foot tall. This bitch was. It was. When she stepped out of her car, the car leveled out.
Didn't she stink too?
She didn't smell great. She had a little bit of hair on her chins, and
she didn't smell the greatest.
She didn't smell the greatest, but she came all that way from Indiana. And back then, I was just like, man, she come all this way expecting to get laid. Now, if I don't fuck her, that's gonna give her a complex. You know, she gonna know she's that nasty, and I wouldn't fuck her. So I did what any gentleman would do, and I took her out on a back road where there was no light, where I couldn't see her, and I had fucked her. But like,
what was she wearing, Shaggy?
It was so long ago, and I'm so disgusted that I did this. I don't even remember. I just remember fingering her, and she had a big old pussy for a big girl. She was wet. I don't know how, as big as she was. I don't know if it was just sweat, and the reason why she felt so loose, I was underneath a fat roll. I don't even know if I actually got her vagina or not. I fucked something on this Pillsbury Doughboy of a woman. I fucked something on it, and the next morning she tried to wake me up to talk to her or whatever, and I just pretended like I was asleep because I couldn't even look at her in the daylight. I mean, it was bad. It was rough enough looking at her in the dark, but I did.
She gave you scabies?
Yeah, after she left, a couple weeks later, I'm in a semi, and I looked down at my dick, and it had spots all over it. And
wait,
so
hold on, stop. How did you look down at your dick while driving? Were you driving naked?
No, I was driving semi at the time.
You said I was in a semi.
Okay, I was driving semi, and when I got out to piss, stopped the semi from driving. I got out to piss at the truck stop and looked down like, well, this can't be good. I'm like, what the fuck is all this stuff?
Can't be good.
So I call the Werner Enterprises up, my dispatcher. I said, I need to make it home to see a doctor. And so they sent me home on a Greyhound. And I get there, and the doctor's like, oh, yes, you got scabies. And I'm like, oh, great. So they give me a cream to put on all over my whole body. And he told me I more likely got it from sleeping with the woman, and that was the last woman I slept with.
Is this before or after you got clapped from the same girl 3 times?
After.
Well, look, we're an hour and 10 in, and we haven't talked about telemarketing at all.
I know. I was getting ready to bring that up. I'm like, we're supposed to be talking about telemarketing, and then we're talking about a bunch of other funny shit. But there's so much more funny
that other stuff. This was gold.
Yeah, I guess we'll meet up again and do Telemarketing Chronicles Volume 2. But you know what might be a good idea? To do it live and like post it on Facebook or something so that there's people in the comments. I remember that or whatever, and maybe they can come on too. But anyway.
Well, no, you're right. I think that was the idea. Didn't we talk about that? Because this is like practice. I just want to make sure we can get us all on here like this.
Well, no, this ain't practice. This is going up. This money. This is going up.
But I mean, when we're going to get into the telemarketing stories and all that, I think we talked about going live, and I think it would be better that way.
I do want to tell one thing about telemarketing.
Go ahead.
When I first started Telespectrum, fucking Charles, Ken Groves, give him the codes and everything to log in the computer, the supervisor's computer, and we was always in a competition as to who could sell the most shit back then. And right now, we was on Cross Country Bank, and I was selling a bunch of Cross Country Bank credit cards. And every time I'd get a sale, you had to record your sales, or else they'd pull them if you said anything wrong in the confirmation. So I'm like on the sale, and I'm going through the confirmation. The next thing I know, my computer shuts off. I'm like, what the fuck? How'd this happen? I look over, and Charles is cracking up laughing. And I look over, and he logged me out. I was like, oh man. I'm like, quit doing that. And he did
off too, I bet you.
Yeah, I was, because it was hard enough to get a sale back then. Right. And you get excited when you do get a sale, and then you get a sale. Here you got butthole here logging you out of your computer. So you don't even get that sale anymore.
Well, particularly, hold on. I just want to clear Ken's name. It wasn't Ken, and I'll never say how I got it. I used to love killing people out, but particularly with Cross Country Bank, because it had like a 19 or 21% interest rate and like $150 limit, but you had to pay to get the card. And
$100 activation fee, $50 annual fee.
Yeah, that's what it was. So to get and we would get like 10 or 11 of these a night.
More than that.
Me and Shaggy are in a competition, and every time he would get a sale, I would just log him out.
I did Cross Country Bank. Chase, it was like you like hit the Mecca if you did 10 sales on Chase, but in Cross Country, you would need 2 or 3 of those tapes to record them, because back then you had to have the tape and record them. I had 2025 on there before, so I know you guys had to have at some point.
And the disclosure was so fucking long.
Forever. I don't know how we got any on that one.
Once I learned how to do slam scripts, man, I could get shit tons of sales. Only thing I needed to know was the annual percentage rate and all that shit about this. And I never went verbatim for any script they give me. My script for any credit card I sold was, hi, Mr. Johnson. I just want to let you know in the next couple of weeks, you should be receiving your new Cross Country Bank credit card in the mail. I just want to make sure it's not going to the wrong address. And I would tell them it's got a 21.99% annual rate, $50 activation fee, $100 annual fee. You only have to pay that if you want to use it. I want to make sure it's not going to go to the wrong mailbox. Your address is this, correct? And they'll be like, yeah, hit record. Go through the whole confirmation. They didn't even realize that that they just went through a whole application process.
Shaggy, you were definitely an all-time great, man, for sure.
I used to love getting foreigners on the phone, and you would have to be like, now to confirm that you want to enroll, I need you to list your mother's maiden name. But before I would do it, I would say, all right, listen, before I would turn the tape recorder on, I'd be like, no matter what I say, you say yes, okay? Yes. So I'd be like, now to confirm that you want to enroll, I need to list your mother's maiden name. And they'd be like, yes. And I'd type YES. Like everybody's mother's maiden name was yes. And on the Chase card, that we had one Chase card that was pre-approved. And I told people, out of all the people in all the world, we selected you to receive this new card. And they would be like, I'm not interested. And then I would act like, oh no, I don't know what we're going to do now. And then to make me feel better, they'd be like, okay, go ahead. Is there an annual fee? You know, like, yeah, you don't even have to act it. They'd be like, okay, I don't want to mess up your, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, just
you should be ashamed of yourself there, Charles. I remember that time you selling caller ID. You show it to a fucking blind person. They said, I'm blind. I can't see, so it wouldn't do me no good. You said it's okay. It comes in Braille. And you showed that to that fucking blind person. Shame on you.
Yeah, I sort of wish we wouldn't have talked about that, but I guess if we're going to talk about Eddie's 10 lines of meth, we can talk about me selling caller ID to a blind person.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. I guess we should at least tell one more telemarketing story about Shane Borman evacuating Telespectrum Worldwide with fart spray.
Oh, that was great.
That. I was there for that.
That was horrible.
The whole building because they thought there was like a gas leak or something.
The funniest part about that,
spray, we had drug dogs come in, fights.
The funniest part about the fart spray was how bad it was, and I ran up the stairs because night shift waited for day shift to come outside before we went upstairs. I ran upstairs real quick and sprayed the hallway because that stuff lingered, and they all come out them fucking door, the day shift people, like gagging and stuff because of how bad it was. And I'm sitting out there cracking up laughing. One of the funniest things I did that day was Jack Twynham sat next to this girl that was really, really hot. And the only reason why he liked this girl. And he seen me walking over towards him, sneaking up behind him. And he's sitting there shaking his head, no, tell me not to do it. I'm laughing, and I just spray right behind him. And then I hurry up and I walk away. And I'm sitting over there just at my cubicle watching to see what happens. But Cheryl Lewis was a supervisor that had a cubicle right beside Jack and this girl. She walks and she gets right behind Jack, and she just stops right in her tracks, turns around in disgust, and walks away. And I'm just like sitting there. That made me laugh so hard. I had to hang up my dialer because I couldn't take no phone calls because my stomach was hurting. I was laughing. It was just, that was the funniest day I've ever had at Telespectrum.
I just want to say, we've known each other for so long, and we talked about this. We touched on this a couple of times, to where we can look at each other and know something's going down. So Jack knew you were going to do it and was trying to wave you on. You know, like you could look across the room and know I'm the one that logged you out.
You know what's sad though? What Shaggy said. Well, it wasn't sad, but it makes me think now. Because, we had no phones back then, we didn't have no smartphones. We didn't have social media, YouTube. Could you imagine if we had it during that time? Man, everything would have been chronicled that we did, man. It would have been so much better to use it now.
Oh, yeah.
It's better like this because it's better it's better just told through word of mouth. You know what I mean? Like an old ancient myth. You know what I mean?
Well, we don't, we forgot. I mean, now Shaggy made me feel old on here because there's so many things he said that I forgot. I literally was out of my mind. Maybe I tried to walk it out. I don't know.
We haven't even scraped the surface yet, and we're like an hour and 20 minutes in. We barely got the telemarketing. We only told a couple of stories, but the whole purpose of this is because people think that they're losers or they've had a bad life or they haven't really fucking had a very good run or I don't have a great job or I this or I that. And when you really look back at it, man, you've done some epic ass shit in your life and you've had a lot of laughs and a lot of success in some places. And you've probably been with more women than you should have been with. And you probably should have died a few times and you didn't. And you had great laughs and great memories and stuff like that. So now that we're getting older and in the twilight of our years, it's great to look back and reminisce. And we said this last time on the one we didn't post, but I cherish those moments, like Telespectrum, like telemarketing. I made some of the best friends of my life that are all still my friends. I met some crazy characters. There's great stories. And then it even had utility in my life to teach you to sell, and things
That's
like
the
that.
Big thing. Not to cut you off, but no, I agree. But I've told you before, me and Charles talk all the time. Shaggy, you probably know how we talk, now that we're in that group together. It helped me get where I am today, being not just great friends, but the ability to sell. I mean, if you were in some of them places we've been in and you could succeed there, it's no shit. And you guys know this. You could do anything. You could do any sales job if you could do that good.
Yep. Well, any job really, because it's stressful getting told no a lot of times and rules changing and stuff like that. And Shaggy was a fucking legend on the phone. And that's another cool thing about all this is telemarketing is the kind of thing where like you get infinite chances. It's like if you're a wrestling fan, you'll hear stories about these wrestlers did this fucked up shit and Vince keeps taking them back over and over and over again. So there's like really, there's no loss condition where like you're not going to be welcome back. There's like literally nothing you can do that you're not going to be welcome back. And so like
they were like Vince.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like you could always come back to that place to work, and it was always the same cast of characters. You would always see a Chuck Riggs or a Mike Bishop or a Jive
Shane's
or a
ass.
Jordan, or you know what I mean?
Or Shane's ass, Charles.
Yeah, Shane. Oh. I wonder how that goes with terms of service.
I'm stupid.
We might have to mosaic that out. No.
Yeah, I can do that too. I could, but
no,
I mean,
we'll
have to
leave it
do
on. If anyone,
maybe a millisecond, so people can get a sneak preview of Buff in the new.
well, if anyone complains, we'll just fucking take it down and then put it back up with a mosaic. But anyway,
if you can edit anything, put a C on my left butt cheek, and on my right butt cheek, put CAO, and that would spell Coco.
All right, so what we've established is we're gonna have to do this again.
Yes.
And we need someone to find Coco, and this was just the first of many. So if anybody else has anything to say, go ahead.
I'm good, man. I think we got to get. We can cut this up and get some good stuff out of it, and like you said, many more to come.
We'll put this one up in full, but then we'll cut up little snippets from it as well.
Yeah.
But all right, guys. Until next time. See you later.
See you later.